Well, there you have it. We'd like to bring you the good, the bad, the ridiculous today with me and Bharat Sundaresan. But I don't know where Bharat is. He is on Bharat time. He's supposed to be here. He was supposed to be here, to be fair, like 15 minutes ago. And then he said he was running late. And he said, I think 4 minutes ago that he was going to be 2 minutes. So we're just going to sit here and wait for him. I'm going to say hello to everyone who's there. Hello, Yash Jajadia, and hello, Shantanu Udasai. Hi, Hitesh. I can see you giving me the thumbs up as well. So thank you, guys. You're much better timekeepers than Bharat. He should be here now. What did he say? How long ago did he say that he was going to be here in 2 minutes? Okay, yeah, that was 4 minutes ago. Look, everyone's on now. Hi, Rita Gupta, and hello, Leah. Oh, see, Leah's always here. And Ashim saying you've got to talk about Shakib. Well, Ashim, I can tell you that that's going to be first up. I'll just give you a little hint, a little preview. Hello to Shanky as well. That's not Captain Shanky. No, I do know someone who has a twiddle hat. Oh, hang on.
Oh, did you start without me?
Dude, there are all these people here. They're all like putting up comments and everything. So, you know.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, hello.
Don't blame me.
Hello, Krupaka.
Blame Bunnings. Will they ever be our sponsor, Mel? I mean, if not, then I can go on a rant about them.
I don't know. I tell you what, if they sell watches, then I'm quite happy for them to come on board. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Roll the bumper, quick. Hello and welcome to the good, the bad, and the ridiculous with the ridiculously late Bharat Sundaresan. Thank you for eventually joining us. Yes, it was another late night for us watching, but some interesting things to talk about. Let's get stuck into some nominations. First up, it's not anything to do with the test yesterday, but from Ankush the hero, not related to England versus New Zealand, but Shakib Al Hasan's bad behaviour in Dhaka League. That is definitely a very strong nomination for bad. Incredible footage. I mean, you know, we've got some here. I think it's from Seven that has been all over YouTube, all over the internet, and it's just amazing. The aggression towards the umpire, they're attacking the stumps. I mean, that in itself is pretty outrageous. And then you saw him come running in and just go straight for the stumps again the second time. Here it comes. In he comes. He's clearly upset. And you talk about someone picking up their bat and ball and going home, but taking the stumps and throwing them to the ground. I hate seeing that, I've got to say. I hate seeing that. I don't like, in sport generally, I don't like disrespect and abuse of the umpires because they're a really easy target. And sport couldn't happen without officials. So while you might agree with them, while they might have bad days or make calls that you don't like, people can talk about the pressure of sport and the passion and everything else, and I understand that. But that was another level, and to see that from a player of you know, Shakib Al Hasan's stature was just quite incredible.
A few things to pick on, Mel. The first thing I want to say is I still can't believe in that first clip where he kicks the stump with extreme force, but the stump doesn't come out. So the official not only held his ground, I thought he did incredibly well. If you can roll the first clip again, if you can track it. By now, look at the force with which he kicks it.
Yeah.
But it stays grounded, which means not only am I impressed with, like I said, how the official holds his ground, but I'm also impressed with how well he knocked that stump in, which is very important as an umpire. But yeah, I mean, Shakib Al Hasan has had he has not had the best 2 years of his cricketing life, right? He's just come off serving that 1 year ban. And yeah, as a senior player, as a role model, and I mean, you don't know how big Shakib is, Mel, till you go to Bangladesh, right? He's on. I'm sure you remember as well. Like I went there 2010. You went there more recently than I did, but he's everywhere. I mean, even in 2010, his posters were everywhere. I mean, he was on most ad hoardings. He's a big deal, and for him to be on camera doing this is quite ridiculous. But just again on the umpires in both circumstances, I thought they did well. They held their ground. Look, someone tweeted me sometime back, saying there are some reports where apparently the umpires were being too biased in that second clip where he uproots the stumps. And then as the clip ends, you can see the ground staff come in with covers just towards the end of that clip. Apparently, these are all nobody's done a fact check on this, but apparently the umpires taking the players off for rain when it wasn't raining. So that's the allegation of sorts, and but it is still no defense to doing what he's done. Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of gully cricket matches that we used to play in India, where it used to be like one apartment complex with another apartment complex. And I have been part of matches where this has happened, but never has a test cricketer who's played test cricket for 15 years, who's got one of the greatest all-round records in the history of the game, been part of any of those games. So it's not just the act, but the fact that you have maybe arguably the biggest name in Bangladesh cricket history doing that. Because kids are watching this. This is clearly on TV, or there are clips out there. What kind of message are you sending to them?
Absolutely. All About Cricket has commented in there, Shakib should be banned for life. So that's a pretty big call there. Maybe some people will agree with that. I imagine there might be some fairly harsh penalties, because that is definitely bringing the game into disrepute. That there's no arguing about that. So will be interesting. We shall watch with interest. And Arpan saying, and the kids are following his path just like the under-19 final. Oh, I don't know about that. I think that's a very, very different thing. But let us go on with our next nomination, which is ridiculous. England bowlers. This is from Sunak Mana 7. England bowlers scoring 50+ runs, which is more runs than Joe Root, James Bracey, Ollie Pope, and Zach Crawley. They've scored only 23 runs. Okay, that's a fair shout. We've spoken a bit, haven't we, about the batting woes, and it often seems to be, look, it's just one of those things too. When teams are having issues with their batting and their batting's a bit brittle, it always seems to be the bowlers who come in and play some sort of rear guard action or whatever, and you just feel so sorry for them, because they'll then be out there just bowling, themselves into the ground soon afterwards. And it's like they don't even get bloody chance to put their feet up for a while.
And there are a lot of cliches that get used in cricket. The one thing that I've never understood is whenever the tail wags and the top order has collapsed, you'll hear commentators and experts and everyone, even just normal people in the audience say, oh, the batsman can take a cue from the lower order. But it's very rare that the bowling attack bowls the same way it does to the lower order as it does to the top order. So I think it's always been very unfair. And also the tail-enders go out there with having nothing to lose. They don't have their reputation as batsmen on the line when they go out to bat, especially when they're walking in after the top order. Many in the top order have failed. So Mark Wood had that freedom, and we've seen Mark Wood, just the way he goes about his cricket with ball, bat, everything. He loves to have fun. He goes out, just generally he loves to have fun in life. So it's always fun watching Mark Wood bat. I felt bad for Dan Lawrence that, unlike Rory Burns last time, Jimmy Anderson couldn't see him home to the 3-figure score, but I thought he batted really well. I think speaking of lower orders, it could well come down to that in that World Test Championship final. We haven't gotten there yet, but it's just a week away, Mel. It's not like the Ashes. It's not 8 months away, so we can talk about it. So yeah, it could well come down to those 50 plus runs that get scored by the lower order. New Zealand does have a very strong lower order. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the India-England series as well. India have had issues, as we've discussed at length, about dismissing the tail. So, but it does not, I don't think, has a direct bearing on the top order.
I just noticed there that Saad Ahmed just commenting Mark Wood's batting was ridiculously good. He had all the shots in the bag. He did have some pretty good shots. I'm sure Mark would be happy to hear that. Now, I'm just going to pull one out here from Gaurav Paul saying, good, Ross Taylor scoring. If he can get a big score, that can be the biggest boost for the Kiwis. Ooh, let's jump down. Biggest boost for the Kiwis heading into the World Test Championship, considering his lean patch recently. Yeah, very welcome return to form, I guess. But I mean, it underlines that the depth that we've been talking about in this New Zealand side, where you look at someone like Will Young coming into the team and the way he's batted. And, you know, if Kane Williamson is fit, he's clearly going to come straight back into the side, and someone's going to miss out. And you would think Ross Taylor's experience would make him a favourite, but gee, Will Young, like, coming in and doing what he's done as well. So maybe it's put a little bit of pressure on Ross Taylor in a way. The fact that, you know, it's not that there is competition for those specialist batting positions in that side right now.
Yeah, and Akash Jaiswal makes a good point. Like, the bench strength, I think, does not get enough credit. There's always so much talk about the bench strength that India have. And to an extent, even Australia, and when it comes to bowling, not so much the batting or the openers. But yeah, New Zealand, Will Young has been looked at as potentially the next Kane Williamson for the last 5 or 6 years, and he's had to wait his turn. He made his debut only last year. And like with Matt Henry, he's been in and out because he only gets to play when one of the big guns, miss out. Now with Devon Conway having more or less cemented, you would say, the second opener slot, it's just going to be even more difficult for that bench strength to come in. Great headaches for the selectors. The bowling depth just seems to grow all the time. New Zealand cricket's looking really good. The only thing they had a question mark over was Ross Taylor. He's 37. We were there when he played his 100th test. It was a very emotional press conference when he broke down when asked about Martin Crowe. And at that point, just the way he was getting out in that series against Australia, you wondered, have we seen the best of Ross Taylor? Is it time for him to move on, at least from test cricket? But he's hung in there. He's not had a great time in test cricket, but he is a game breaker. That's any format, and especially in test cricket. And he's generally done well against the spinners. Maybe not so much in India, but he plays the sweep shot really well. He can put the spinners off. So I think him getting into form, and it was a torrid spell that he had to overcome from Anderson.
Oh, yeah. That was for me the best passage of play of the day with Anderson and Broad in particular. Oh boy,
absolutely,
it was probing both edges of the bat. It was kind of really tense there for a while. It was real go into survival mode.
No, absolutely, and I had to go and do some some digging last night, and I found out the first time Ross Taylor faced Jimmy Anderson, he got out to him, but Jimmy Anderson had only 65 test wickets to his name. Ross Taylor was playing his 4th test. Bharat Sundaresan was still 2 months away from starting his journalism career. This is way back in March 2008. And it was great to see them. And Stuart Broad also was part of that playing 11, if I'm not mistaken. It was great to see them all back on the stage. It was like a throwback, but nothing has changed. Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad were still getting the ball to talk, and Ross Taylor was just finding some way to hang in there with his tongue hanging out.
Yeah. I'm not even going to go there. No. Let's go. Let's go to the next nomination. And I think we have 2 here together. Yes. Look. I've just put this in for the beer snake because the atmosphere deserves it again. From Muglu, has to be the most ridiculous thing today. People stacking their cups to make a snake of cups. Icing on the cake, the old man on the upper deck pitching in with his cup. And then there's also another nomination from Testing Bots. Ridiculous. The length of beer snake at Edgbaston seems like someone is having a good time. The atmosphere has been incredible. The noise coming through just on the TV screens. And I noticed people out there just posting loads of videos and everything. It's like the whole of cricket has just come out of hibernation, quarantine, and as having a party. So beer snakes actually sometimes really annoy me. No, this is an unpopular opinion. I'm not a big fan of beer snakes, but I'm not going to spoil the party on this occasion because they've earned it.
I had to explain what a beer snake is to Isha yesterday. She was not watching the cricket with me, but she was just hanging around, and she saw the beer snake, and I think it was just before lunchtime, and she asked me what it is, so I had to explain it to her. And it was pretty early in the day, but so far we've already seen with this Edgbaston crowd, a lot of them are cheering, but I don't know how many of them are really involved with the cricket. The drinking seems to start very early. We had a pitch invader, so the cameras were off, so we didn't know whether it was an actual streaker or just a pitch invader. But it's they seem to be having a great time. I've never been party to a beer snake. It doesn't happen in India for good reason. And every time I've covered Test cricket overseas, I've never partaken in the beer snake ceremony or contributed like the old man did to to the beer snake. So maybe that day will come. In fact, what I generally do is if I do sneak out of the press box and have a quiet beer, an old friend of mine taught me, especially in England, you can give the cup back and get, I think, £1 back or something like that. So which is much better usage of the cup. It's recyclable anyway, rather than to stick it into a beer snake.
Yeah, the concept there are very good with sustainability, but I just can't believe you have admitted on our show to drinking on the job. You heard it here, folks. We won't let him forget it. Okay, next nomination, please. Bad from AB Cricket 19. ECB's handling of Jack Leach. When Root bowls 13 overs in a day, you know how bad they've messed up the selection. Lawrence's wicket towards the end made Leach's non-selection look even worse. I did think that when Dan Lawrence got a wicket. I mean, you do think that if Jack Leach had played, he would have played a role in this test. Not saying that he would have got a bag of wickets or whatever, but he was probably going to be economical. What you've ended up with, I think, with this England side in this match is quite a samey kind of attack in the end. They were showing the graphics last night of just how much pace Mark Wood has dropped from one test to the other, playing back-to-back tests. Someone like him who struggled with injuries. I'm not saying he should have been dropped, but what the end result, it feels like you've got quite a samey England attack with some part-time spinners. And the result of that, Broad was unlucky not to get more wickets. Let's give him that as well. You have to say he was pretty unlucky. But yeah, it is a samey attack for me, a bit too samey, and you've got to be brave. You know that if you're not going to play a spinner, you know you're going to get hammered for it if it doesn't work. It's a big, big call, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you heard Michael Holding yesterday say Joe Root was still the best England spinner right now playing Test cricket. I think that was slightly unfair on Jack Leach, especially the way he has developed in the last 12 or 14 months. A year back, maybe even during the Ashes, I might have agreed with Michael Holding, but I think Jack Leach, he showed us in India just the grit, the determination to just keep bowling to Rishabh Pant. The heart he showed in India was quite impressive, and also the control he seems to have developed. So he would definitely have had a say. We saw Ajaz Patel get some purchase of that pitch, and historically Edgbaston has suited not suited spinners, but it's not been a bad pitch to bowl spin on, finger spin in particular. So I'm sure Jack Leach would have played a role, but it goes back to balance. And yeah, Ollie Robinson and Ollie Stone, that's a better comparison. I think Ollie Robinson brought so much more to the table with his bowling, particularly. And compared to Ollie Stone, of course, brings that extra yard of pace. But yeah, when Mark Wood's pace drops, like we saw him, even in they focused on his delivery stride when the front foot was bent, so he was losing a lot of pace. Could it be that he's picked up a little niggle somewhere? Maybe. And it, as a result, him and Ollie Stone, like you said, bowling at the same pace. So and that's why I think every time Broad and Anderson did not have a ball in their hand, the Kiwis looked rather comfortable, especially Mark Wood was leaking a few runs as well. Yeah, I guess Dan Lawrence taking a wicket with his action is good. The fact that they broke that partnership, because New Zealand at that point looked really dominant. They still are well on top in my book in this game. But till the time Ben Stokes comes back and Jofra Archer comes, especially Ben Stokes comes back,
Yeah, that's the key.
You'll keep having this issue, I guess, England.
Yeah, that's as silly as it sounds. The whole spinning issue probably still. All roads lead back to Ben Stokes, don't they? When you look at selection and variation and everything else, and what it allows them to do. So, yes, all roads lead to Stokes, even though he's not playing. Now, next. Oh, hang on. I'm going to go. Gaurav, Paul, you've got another good one. Let's just mention Stuart Broad overtakes Walsh as third highest Test wicket taker. Great stat. Thank you. Again, we love the statage works that you guys do in picking these things up. Remember when we were talking about him in the first Test and his lack of wickets and everything else, and we were saying he'll come back and he'll bowl like it. He does it every time. There's we have to have the Stuart Broad discussion about his place in the side. And he comes back in the next Test and he reminds everyone of just what he's able to do. And I thought he did that. The way he was moving the ball around was just brilliant, I thought.
Oh, I think it's amazing to think that he's been playing Test cricket for all these years, and this is the quickest consistently he's bowled, and that's just Olivia being a menace. That's why the screen moved. And this is the quickest he's bowled consistently ever, which tells you that he's rapidly improving. I think of all the English cricketers who have decided to focus on one format, I think he's benefited the most, because for a long time he was T20 captain, wasn't he? I think he was captain in 2 T20 World Cups. But I think now he's just on top of his bowling. Yeah, wickets were not coming his way. But it's just a matter of time. You just get that feeling. Unfortunately, the next Test in England will play against against India. So for all the Indian fans, you can just sense that there's that 7-wicket haul coming. Just the way he's bowling, and the appeal, the cerebrappeals or cerebrappeal. I've struggled to pronounce that word all my life. Cerebrappeals are he's getting that going. Just a matter of time. When you see Stuart Broad do the teapot, you can make out how much he's really into his bowling, and he's sensing that big spell coming.
Yeah, absolutely. See, Akash Jaiswal saying harsh on Robinson to be dropped. Is Broad losing potency or just plain unlucky? He's been relatively quiet for a while now. Well, I sort of think that we've kind of said that. I think he just comes back. He has those little lulls, and then he comes back, and he's constantly reinventing himself as a bowler. And as you say, getting quicker now. He thinks about things a lot. Now, next up on the nomination front, from Debajit Ghosh, bad as an Indian cricket team fan, the way Devon Conway is playing. It just makes it look easy, doesn't it? He really makes. I mean, I think that they've been quite good batting surfaces generally in these 2 Tests anyway. So that's probably going to help you when you're coming into a side. It doesn't seem to be helping England much at the moment, but they are good batting conditions, I think. But he had to survive some really difficult periods out there. And he makes it look so easy. I'm just not blown away. Like, I knew that he had so much potential and everything, but so often you see the players come into Test setups and not do it as consistently as he did, and to get out the way he did with that sort of flick in the end, sort of falling into that trap, was like, oh, I really wanted that ball to go for 6. It looked like it should have, but it'll be interesting. I see Arpan saying Devon Conway easy for Ashwin. Interesting. Time will tell on that one. I'm sure it's a challenge that Ashwin would relish.
For sure. And I'm sure Ashwin's, even though they are right now playing an intra-squad match, and yes, Rishabh Pant did make a half century yesterday. I saw a clip of him hitting a six. I think it looked like he was hitting a six and raising his bat. So that's good news for both India and Melinda Farrell. Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure Ashwin's seen a lot of videos of Devon Conway already. But the thing that stands out about Devon Conway's batting for me, Mel, is there's so much talk about how late Kane Williamson plays the ball. I think Devon Conway has shown that he's equally good. He plays the ball equally late, and in a way, like Rory Burns, he's much more attractive to watch than Rory Burns. Some of the shots he plays, the pulls, the flicks, the whip he plays of the pads, the one that he got out to. But I think the fact that he does get kind of not bogged down. They can kind of cramp him up when they come around the wicket, and he inside edges a lot of balls. But look at his reactions after that. He seems so not perturbed, and which is the secret of success in England when you're batting there. The fact that you can put the plays and misses away, and he did have a lot of plays and misses yesterday. But he just seems I remember that one time when Stuart Broad kept beating his outside edge, and Isha's back, and he just gave a wry smile to Stuart Broad. So I think that shows you a lot about his character, and yeah, like I've been saying over the last 2 weeks, his inclusion has just added more it's just added to the New Zealand team's depth, and the fact that now they have two stable openers just makes them, in my book, still favorites going into that World Test Championship final, even though, of course, India will win it.
Oh my goodness. Is that a prediction? Is that an official prediction?
Very early prediction.
That's a very early prediction. I wouldn't be willing to make any kind of prediction, actually. It makes it so hard. A one-off test. I don't know.
Draw.
A draw. Oh no. Share it. Do we have any nominations? Mr. Muku, yes he is. We do. Rajajmit, ridiculous, not nervous 90s, but apprehensive 80s. Don't know if that works because it starts with an A and an E. It's a sort of same sound, but I'm not sure if we can have the edgy 80s.
Yeah, you're better at alliteration than I am, clearly. But I do agree with Raja Jimit, because it caught my eye as well. I was like, whoa, a lot of 80s, 4 80s already, though Dan Lawrence was 81 not out. So yeah, I think our viewers love numbers, don't they? But before we move on to the nomination winners, Mel, I have a bone to pick with Mr. Sanat Mishra, who wanted to know if a country's test status can be rescinded. If yes, then it's looking so for West Indies. You know how much that breaks my heart, how much it pains me to see that. It's Moku. If you can scroll right back up, I want Mr. Sanat Mishra on the screen, please.
Oh dear, Sanat Mishra, you are in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they were bowled out for 97. Yes, they are trailing by. There you are, Sanat Mishra. I can see you have. You're a salute. Are you holding a coffee cup? I think you are.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. He's hiding from the wrath of Bharat.
Yeah, you better be hiding, because you can't just say something like that about my West Indies and get away with it. But look at what they've done in the last few months. They went to Bangladesh and beat Bangladesh in Bangladesh. How many other teams have done that? Tell me. South Africa haven't. I think India have, but very few countries have. Australia don't even go to Bangladesh because they're so scared of playing Test cricket there. But no, I don't think. I think West Indies are going to fight back in this test. And the next, they've been in this position before. Wait, Jason Holder hasn't even walked out to bat yet. So this is generally the situation where he comes and makes a big 100. So I'm not ruling them out at all. But yeah, we don't get to see this West Indies South Africa Test match. Sorry. So I have to apologize to all our viewers. But I do catch up on the scores. Quinton de Kock seems to have made a very mature century. He was someone I saw live in 2013 make 3 consecutive ODI centuries against India. And people were comparing him with Brian Lara back then. And he is very attractive. I mean, there's so much to love about Quinton de Kock's cricket. I wasn't loving watching the scorecard yesterday, because at one point I thought the West Indies, when they got an early wicket and South Africa weren't too far ahead. I thought maybe they can bring this game back within reach, but I think Quinton de Kock ruined the evening, just like Sanat Mishra has for ruined my afternoon. I'm kidding. Of course not. They deserve to be.
Well, just remember too, like that. This does happen. Like you said, West Indies have had some success. They're obviously not as high as some of the other teams are at the moment. But this has happened when teams have come out to Australia and people have suggested they shouldn't be coming to Australia or wasting our time because they have a bad series or a bad match. Look, if there's a collapse and there's a bad score or a couple of bad scores, let's just remember 36 all out. Just saying. Huh? You talk about low scores. Anyway, but what is your goodest thing for the day?
I think my goodest thing for the day, we spoke about it earlier as well, and I stick with it. It was just that spell after tea from Anderson and Broad. I was planning to go to sleep just around that tea break time. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll watch 2 or 3 overs just after the tea break, get all sorted. But yeah, once it started, you just couldn't take your eyes off the TV. I mean, that's just classic Test cricket, right? A world-class batsman who's played over 100 Test matches, 2 world-class legendary fast bowlers who playing his 162nd Test match, the other's playing his 148th Test match, and them just producing magic. But Ross Taylor, like I said, just finding ways to survive. And then before we move on, Royal Dong, I don't think I am I'm West Indian. I'm from the western part of India, but no, I'm not a West Indian. I'm a Western Indian, I guess. But I am a West Indies fan, and I will always stand by that.
Okay, what is your baddest thing for the day?
I think the baddest thing for the day was this never-ending debate over soft signals. I mean, like, I mean, when will it end, right? There was that, yes, I mean, for those who weren't watching the game, there was an outside edge of Devon Conway's bat. Stuart Broad was bowling. Zach Crawley claimed the catch, but then the soft signal was not out from Richard Kettleborough, and which meant that, and I was thinking about it, why can't we, I mean, there's a yes, no, maybe in every other survey, for everything else in life, right? There's a thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs in the middle. Why can't the soft signal also have a thumbs in the middle? Like maybe either the umpire says yes, soft signal is out, soft signal is not out, or maybe the soft signal could be, I don't know, because there are times when I've umpired as well, when you're at the square leg position or you're square leg umpire or you're at the bowler's end, it's very difficult to make out. It happens so quickly. Right, you are just guessing. So why should there be? Okay, now they've decided the soft signal will stay, but at least give them that third option so that the third umpire looks at it from he's looking at it from scratch rather than having to depend on the on-field umpire's soft signal every time. Yeah, I mean, in cases where the umpire has an opinion, he can give the soft signal. But but I mean, coming to that, the third umpire, there was so much debate about it. But the third umpire, if you heard what he said, the ball has clearly touched the ground. There was no doubt. He didn't even bother about the soft signal at that point. But it was just boring. I mean, and then that debate just went on and on and on. And it's some of these things with cricket, like, some of these debates are just never ending. And guess what? I made it worse by talking about it the day after.
Yes. Okay, and what is your ridiculous thing for the day?
I thought it was ridiculously awesome. The crowd rising as one to Jimmy Anderson when he walked out to bat yesterday. There have been cricketers who been loved and adored, especially, I mean, like Sachin Tendulkar's last Test match. Now, I don't think anything will come close to that. In terms of entire country, like billion Indians just breaking down, and it was almost the end of an era, end of a chapter for every Indian, maybe every cricket fan at that point. But just the pure love that the English fans have for Jimmy Anderson, right? It was so good. You felt like you were there. And for a moment, no beer snakes, no beer, no dressing up. Everything was just pushed into the background. It was all about Jimmy, which for me was ridiculously the best moment of the day.
Well, that's a nice note to end it on. Thank you all for your nominations. Thank you so much for coming and joining us on the show today. Yes, do drop your nominations on Twitter with the hashtag good, bad, ridiculous, and we will collect them over the course of day. Which day are we up to? 3. Yeah.
Day 3. Tomorrow is day 3.
Yeah.
Day 3. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Saturday.
gosh, where does it go? Thank you, Akash, for saying another great episode. Keep up the amazing work, Mel. I notice I don't say Bharat there. Keep up the amazing work, Mel. You can do amazing work when you show up on time tomorrow. But until then, we will see you later. Goodbye. Celebrate.